Planning Commission on August 13th, 2025. Ms. Sheehan, may we please have the roll call?
Yes. Commissioner Kennedy?
Present.
Sorry, you all are in new seats now. My apologies. Commissioner Singh?
Present.
Commissioner Matthews?
Present.
Commissioner Paul?
Present.
Commissioner Reese? Present. And Commissioner Ollie Sullivan?
Present.
And Commissioner Greavy is absent.
Thank you. All right, Commissioner Ali Sullivan, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you. Okay, persons wishing to address the Planning Commission on subjects not on the agenda but within the jurisdiction of the Planning Commission, provided that no action may be taken on off-agenda items except as authorized by law. Off-agenda items from the public will be taken under consideration without discussion by the Commission and may be referred to staff. And the comments will be accepted in person or via Zoom. And the instructions to speak on an agenda item in person, please complete a speaker's card and give it to us up front here prior to the time for public comments on that item. When joining via Zoom, please use the raise your hand feature or press *9 on your phone to request to speak. You will be called on by name. You'll have 3 minutes to speak. Next is the approval of the agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda?
No, there are not.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second?
I do.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes. Now we have the approval of the minutes for the regular Planning Commission meeting on July 23rd. Are there any changes to the minutes of July 23rd?
Yes, there is one change. Christian, if you don't mind just highlighting it, I don't want to misspeak.
Oh, sure. So my title in the minutes should be deputy city attorney. It's just assistant right now, so it should say deputy.
Okay.
That's the one change. Yeah.
Do I have a motion to approve the minutes with the correction?
I'll make a motion to.
Thank you. Second?
I do second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes as submitted. Do we have a all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Now is public comments. This is time for the public to speak on items not on the agenda but within the jurisdiction of the Planning Commission. I will now open the public comment period. I have no speaker cards for public comment, and there is no hands on there. So I will now close the public comment. The next item on the agenda is scheduled matters. For each agendized item, there will be a presentation by city staff. For items that involve application requests, I will open the public hearing and ask that the applicant to address the commission if they so desire. Then commentators via Zoom and in-house have the opportunity to provide public comment. I will close the public hearing after all comments have been provided and after all our questions regarding the testimony during the public hearing have been answered. After the public hearing is closed, the commission will deliberate on the item and may have additional questions for staff. We cannot take any additional testimony or questions from the public after the public hearing is closed. So, item A is LAGO VISTA at Fairfield Villages. It's a public hearing at the request of Rob White of Rancho Tolinas Corporation. The project consists of approximately 37.3 acres, which includes 151 single-family residential units and 224 multifamily residential units, as well as parklets, trails, and open space amenities.
Good evening. Good evening, Chair, Commissioners. My name is Dalmar Nyes. I will be presenting the Lago Vista project, a 375-unit subdivision in the Villages of Fairfield Master Plan. The project site is shown here in gold. It's approximately 37 acres of undeveloped land just west of Village 2 of the villages of Fairfield. The project is located just north of Air Base Parkway, west of Claybank Road, and south of Manuel Campos Parkway. I'm told Heretic Brewing is a good landmark, and that's just to the west in the image you see here. For context, the project is being proposed as part of the Villages at Fairfield Master Plan, which the applicant had presented to you in June. The Lago Vista project was not originally included in the Villages of Fairfield as approved in 2005, but was included as part of Hawthorne Mill in 2015. The project seeks entitlement for 5 actions. The first 2, the general plan amendment and zone change, are for Planning Commission's recommendation to City Council for approval or disapproval. The next 3, the tentative subdivision map and the 2 development review applications, are for Planning Commission's either approval or disapproval. The existing general plan designations of the project site are residential low medium and open space conservation. The proposed amended general plan land use designations are residential low medium and residential high. I'd like to point out that the public facilities land use designation in the center of the exhibit is the McCoy Basin. That's owned by the Solano County Water Agency, so the applicant doesn't have any control over that property. The existing zoning designations of the property are industrial business park, open space conservation, and residential medium. And the proposed zone change would be for residential low medium and residential high. The tentative subdivision is proposing first to adjust the boundaries of the 2 existing lots, and second to subdivide the existing property to create 11 new lots. Lots 1 and 2 would be for single-family residential development. Lot 3 would be for multifamily residential development, and then the remaining 8 lots would be for landscape, open space, and a water quality basin. Here's the tentative subdivision map a little closer. Given the shape, it's a little tough to see, but it is shown as attachment 6 in the staff report. The first development review application is for the single-family portion of the project. Lot 1, which is on the southern end of the project site, is approximately 8 acres and proposes 75 units with an average lot size of about 1,800 square feet. Between off-site and off-street, and on-street parking, the applicant is exceeding the city's parking requirement. Here are the house plans proposed for Lot 1. And renderings of Lot 1's house plans. I'd like to note that the plans as proposed do meet the Villages at Fairfield's design guidelines. The second lot, Lot 2, just north of Lot 1, is approximately 10 acres and proposes 76 units. Lot size is approximately 2,000 square feet, and again, between the off-street and on-street parking, the proposed subdivision exceeds the city's parking requirements. These are the house plans for Lot 2. And renderings of the Lot 2 plans. There are several landscape and open space elements that are incorporated into Lots 1 and 2. Renderings of the pocket park proposed at the entrance of Golden Way is shown on the left side of the screen, with the two passive parks shown in the center and the right side. What's not shown here is the multi-use trail that connects the whole subdivision to Village 2 to the north and ultimately to the linear park. But that connects through Lot 2 to the northern boundary. The second development review application is for the multifamily portion of the project, which is Lot 3, which is approximately 14 acres. 224 units are proposed, so 112 duplexes. There are a variety of supporting facilities proposed as well: a leasing building, fitness building, maintenance building, mailroom. This development provides above standard, city standard on-street and off-street parking as well. Here are the house plans proposed for the multifamily development. Renderings of the multifamily development. Here's a rendering from the east side facing west. More of a plan view of the multifamily project. And a typical street view. Lot 3 proposes several landscape elements. Recreation area includes a pool, a sun deck, spa, a tot lot, and a dog park. I'd like to note that Lot 3 is intended to be privately owned and maintained. Because the site is undeveloped currently, all supporting infrastructure and landscaping will need to be installed as part of this project. Lots 1 and 2 are going to be managed by a homeowners association and will annex into a community facilities district. And as mentioned earlier, Lot 3 will be privately owned and maintained. To the south of the project, southwest corner, there is an EVA from Air Base Parkway, and the multi-use trail that connects from Lot 2 up to Portland Drive also serves as an emergency vehicle access. Key conditions of the development are, first, the minor development review. If housing plans are to be different than what is proposed, as part of the development review applications, the developer must apply for a minor development review through the city to make sure that they are in conformance with the approved design guidelines. Second is the fence along McCoy Basin. So between the city, Solano Irrigation District, and the Solano County Water Agency, there's been a desire for a fence to be installed between the property's eastern boundary and McCoy Basin. The applicant will coordinate that with that edge condition with the city, SQA, and SID. And then, as mentioned, the master HOA will be formed for lots 1 and 2, and a CFD will be formed for maintenance of lots 1 and 2. And lastly, the multi-use trail is conditioned to be installed no later than the 100th certificate of occupancy to give some assurances on when that amenity will come online. An EIR addendum has been prepared for both the Villages at Fairfield EIR and the Hawthorne Mill EIR, as no major project changes from either EIR have taken place since both were certified. So it is staff's recommendation to approve the tentative subdivision map and both development review applications, and recommend approval of the general plan amendment, zone change, and the environmental review application. That concludes the presentation. Happy to answer any questions you may have. The applicant is here as well if there's any specific questions for them.
All right, thank you. Commissioners, do we have any questions for staff? We'll start with you, Commissioner.
Yeah, Chair Kennedy, the applicant is not proactively going to present anything to us or provide any comment?
They will, if we have any comments first for them, then
Perfect.
they'll come up and speak.
Okay. You might regret asking me first because I do have a fair amount of
That's
questions.
good.
I will try to limit them here. I guess starting off I do have some questions for the applicant, but starting off for city staff, a couple things kicking off here. So first off, just to orient myself, what happened with Hawthorne Mills? Why was this not originally part of the villages? Did that development fall through? What's sort of precipitating this new combination?
Yeah, I'm happy to answer that. So the Hawthorne Mill project was owned and intended by a different development team originally. Through a variety of reasons, that project did not come to fruition under that development team. They put the property up for sale, and the Lewis Group, or Rancho Tolinos Group, picked it up and then have now been working towards incorporating that into their villages at Fairfield project. But the reason it wasn't part of it originally is purely down to ownership. There used to be a different development team involved.
Got it. All right, next thing. I have some general concerns with removing the open space conservation land. How are we mitigating this? And I guess I'm looking at page 83 of the report that you sent us. And looking at that, I just want to be clear I'm understanding this. And it was on the images on the presentation you showed. So open space original was 81.5 acres. The proposed is now 75.2, so it's a reduction. Does city staff have any concern with that significant reduction in open space?
Sorry, I'm just letting Dom get to
Yeah.
the right screen there. Dom, I don't know if you want to, I'll do a brief and you can probably elaborate a little bit more. I'll be honest with the commission here. Dom and the Kimley Horn consultant team have done all the real heavy lifting on this project, so I don't want to misspeak or take that away from them because they've done a lot of good effort and work into this project. But so even under the Hawthorne Mill project, once it was initially envisioned, there was going to be changes into the boundaries in the open space, and that in terms of the environmental impact of developing on that space, it was all covered under the EIR. So there are mitigation measures in place for when the development occurs. And with that, I'll probably pass to Dom because I'm sure you can elaborate a little more effectively of what all those mitigation measures entail.
Yeah, I think the Hawthorne Mill plan initially was approved to have a road connect to Portland Drive in lieu of that multi-use trail, which would have had more severe impacts or larger impacts to the wetlands in the vicinity of McCoy Basin. And so the team has revised the plan to try and minimize those impacts. Those residential units were generally planned and approved in the areas as they're proposed now. So really there is a map amendment being proposed, but those were approved as part of the Hawthorne Mill EIR, or certified. Excuse me.
I suppose inherent in any type of development is a reduction in open space, so that is, I guess, somewhat understood there. Let's see, on page 6, so parking. I had a couple of questions about parking, because I see that the development, generally speaking, basically meets the minimums of most of the city requirements, but it far exceeds what's expected from a parking standpoint. And so I'm curious if we can sort of talk through that, because I do have some concerns if we're over-indexing on parking. You are incentivizing more cars, which incentivizes more traffic. And so I'm really curious why this project has such an overabundance of parking.
I think it's so as part of the parking calculation, we accounted for the 2 parking spaces within the garage, 2 within the driveway, and then on-street parking as available. And so I think the applicant can probably speak to what has worked for this product in other communities, and probably why there was the desire to support that amount of parking. But
So for single-family houses, it's 2 parking spaces are required, is that correct? For a 2 or 3 person dwelling, it's 2 parking spaces are required?
Yes,
And so theoretically, each house has a 2-car garage plus 2 spaces on the driveway, so that is what is perhaps creating the excessive amount of parking.
Yeah, and I'll expand a little on what Dom said. For Fairfield city standards, we have minimum parking requirements, but as of right now, we do not have maximums. So if an applicant team wants to propose more than what is required, from our standard standpoint, that is not an issue. And as Dom had mentioned, I'm sure when the applicant team has their chance to answer your questions, they can provide a little more insight to how parking plays in terms of marketing and selling.
Okay, Chair Kennedy, if I may, a couple more quick questions here. In the document, I'm trying to find exactly my citation here. There's reference to in lieu funds to the city. It doesn't specify what those numbers are. Do we have a sense of the financial benefit that the city is getting from this?
And I want to make sure so depending on the topic, there are in lieu fees. So we have park in lieu fees, but we also have inclusionary in lieu fees.
Sorry, 12.1 on page 13, capital improvement fees.
So make sure.
And this gets to a bigger question that I have is really, and I want to hear from the applicant on this, but what the applicant sees as the value proposition for the city here, because I see that this is going to add a significant amount of traffic. It's going to have impacts on our city roadways. It's going to have impacts on city infrastructure. And so I want to understand what the applicant is giving to the city to mitigate all of those impacts that residents are going to face. And I assume that some of that is composed of the capital improvement fees, but it doesn't specify what those fees are, so I'm curious. And again, I don't mean to put you on the spot
No,
if you
you're
have
fine.
that number, but that would be helpful to understand sort of the benefit that the city is receiving here.
Yes, of course. So I don't have the figures off the top of my head. What I can tell you is the city of Fairfield has adopted a collection of what we call impact fees, or as it's noted here, as capital improvement fees. So just as an example, we have AB 1600 park fees, we have AB 1600 traffic fees, and we also have what we call our northeast area fees as well, so developments that are east of Claybank and north of Airbase, they also pay a whole nother subset of fees as well. And I can call up our Public Works team if you want some finer details of what that entails, but effectively it's a large collection of fees that are paid for at the time of permit issuance. That all comes to the city and then it is allocated into the proper funds. So if you're paying for AB 1600 park fees, those fees are then dedicated and put towards the construction of new parks.
Got it. Last question, and then when there is an opportunity, I'd like to ask the applicant some questions. But on Lot 3, I guess, the Independence piece of this, yeah, Lot 3, why is that gated?
Lot 3 is proposed as a private development, so the applicant has chosen to control access in and out of the property.
It creates, I think, an unwelcoming aspect to the environment, especially in a neighborhood that does not have any other gated communities. And so I think that's something that I'd love to hear from my fellow commissioners, their thoughts on that aspect of it. I will pause for now. Chair Kennedy, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Reese, any questions? Thank you.
No question this time.
Thank you. Commissioner Matthews?
So, Lot 1, the lot sizes are 1,667 square feet to 1,883 square feet. Do we have any subdivisions with that tiny of lots currently in the city?
You know, off the top of my head, I can't say definitively yes or no. What I can say is we do have small lot development in this same zoning. So the zoning here is residential low to medium density, and we have several subdivisions that are single-family detached homes that are penciling at, or excuse me, they're calculating at the same density counts. So I would imagine that it's probably very similar, but I can't definitively say for sure the lot size. Actually, maybe our applicant team even builds some of these elsewhere in the city of Fairfield, so we'll give them that opportunity to address it as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a champion, as going back several years for tiny homes, but tiny lots with a regular size home, you know, I just worry a little bit about that and wondered if there was any comparable, so perhaps we can hear more about that later. And that brings to mind the importance of the common area space, which our fellow commissioners have just mentioned. So that's all for now.
Thank you. Commissioner Singh?
Yes, I have a question. So it's my understanding that the lot size for Lot 1 is approximately 2,700 square feet, but the homes vary in size. It's anywhere from maybe the high 1,600, maybe to mid to high 2,700 square foot. And then for Lot 2, the lot sizes are around 3,060 square feet, and then the homes range in size from 1,800 to 2,300 square feet-ish. And so I bring that up because in the presentation for Lot 2, it says that the lot size was around 2,000 square feet. I just wanted to ask if that was a typo or if the lot size is actually 2,000 square feet.
That shouldn't be a typo. The lot sizes are average between, there's 3 different lots proposed.
Yes.
And they average to about 1,700, 1,800 for Lot 1, and then around 2,000 for Lot 2. The house sizes, once they're actually built on the lot, will accommodate greater square footage just because it'll be multi-story.
Okay.
Yeah, this says 75 lots ranging for lots.
Got it. I was mistaken. I was mistaken there. Thank you for the clarification. And then, and also wanted to ask as well, I understand that a development agreement amendment is yet to be discussed and whatnot, but seeing as how this is a Lot 1, Lot 2, and then also Lot 3 development, so there's multiple developments going on here, how are the site improvements going to be phased for that?
The applicant can probably speak to it better than I can, but there are conditions included that the applicant is to provide the city a phasing plan. So the city understands how infrastructure will come online. And so if Lot 3 comes online before Lots 2 or 1, vice versa, there's that certainty that they can be supported.
Yeah, and I'll also expand on that additionally. So there is an existing Villages at Fairfield development agreement. That development agreement does not necessarily look at the internal street network. So for example, on the screen here, Golden Way, it's looking at larger, more regional infrastructure. So Manuel Campos Parkway, or you've seen improvements happen to Claybank Road. That was facilitated through that development agreement. What happens when these projects are ready to come online, the applicant team will work with our Public Works Department, exactly as Dom said, to craft that phasing. So as we do the final maps, we'll understand what the phasing is for these internal street network.
Thank you, appreciate that.
Commissioner Matthews?
Just one other quick item. I wanted to disclose that the Lewis Homes Group had a ribbon cutting in Dixon for a project, rental project very similar to Lot 3 that I attended. We did not have any discussions with the Lewis Home about this project, but I wanted to see it because of how comparable it is to this, and I just wanted to go on the record that I had had that interaction. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I got a couple of questions. So similar to Commissioner Ali Sullivan, I have parking questions too, and mine are like almost 180 different. Because 2 and 2, so 4 parking places on the property, it didn't always used to be that way. It used to be considered 2 in the garage, and that was it. Because I know when I was looking at putting an ADU in my backyard, the initial things were like, okay, you have to have extra parking places because the ones in the driveway don't count as parking places. So on lots 1 and 2, how many street parking places are there? Because I get that there's, my issue is we have a lot of multi-generational families in our city, and multi-generational families, that's where they tend to have their birthday parties and things like that. And I don't see, and it's so linear here that where are those street parking that would, if somebody wants to have a get-together at their house, a housewarming, there's no place for them to park within half a mile or so.
Lot 1 proposes 49 on-street parking spaces, and Lot 2 proposes 85.
On street?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And, sorry, the minor, on page 268, emergency access on Air Base Parkway, I think, I don't know, can you, it's, the entrance seems to be at an angle going away from the traffic. So they'd have to make such a hard right turn into that proposal in an emergency. Is there a way, I mean, is that, am I wrong there? If you look on the very bottom left, Air Base Parkway is going to be going from right to left, going towards town, and that entranceway has more of an entrance like it's somebody from going eastbound on Air Base Parkway would be pulling in, but obviously you can't because it's a median there. I just have a real problem with that it's like thrown in there and not, especially if you bring if for some reason they had to bring a ladder truck, there's no way they can make that turn there.
So-
And I know our firefighters are great drivers, but.
Yeah, just to make sure I am understanding your question, your concern, it's whether or not the turning radius is there for an emergency vehicle to
Yes.
enter the Lago Vista site from Air Base Parkway.
In
Is
a
that
reasonable,
correct?
yes.
Okay, yes, and then I think we can probably speak to some of the turning templates that were conducted.
Yes, there were turning templates provided that ran a fire truck and demonstrated that that turn could be made from Air Base Parkway.
In an emergency,
Yes.
not at 2 miles an hour. Okay. And then on page 22, where it talked about minor development review on stuff, that would be just approval by planning staff. It wouldn't come back to us, that's correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. And then the last question, the length of the driveway. And the reason when I went out there today and I was driving around and seeing some of the homes that are presently being built by Discovery Homes with the driveways that look a little bit longer than what is shown on here, that if somebody's got a pickup, if you have a double cab, that you're going to be part of your truck's going to be on the sidewalk. And if you have a bigger truck, and then where are they going to park? It just seems, some ways counterintuitive by just considering all that parking that may not be able to fit in the garage or in the street because of the length of the lack of length in the driveway. So.
Yeah, our city standard has a 20-foot setback from property line to the face of the garage. Our parking stall standards, I believe, are 9 by 18. So, just in theory, I'll say, I don't know how long your truck is, George, but in theory, the driveways being that 20-foot depth should be matching our standard parking stall size.
Got it. Because I saw one truck today that was almost butted against the garage door, but it was hanging into the street a little bit, and it was not. I don't have a 350 F350 or anything big like that, but I have a popular sized truck, I'll say, length, and it probably wouldn't have fit. So that was my only other. That's my other my parking concerns. So with that, any other questions? Thank you, Commissioner Ali Sullivan.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. A couple other quick things here. I believe it's the conditions of approval, so item number 93, park sites. Is the applicant planning to pay an in lieu contribution, or are they setting aside 3.18 acres?
The parklets.
Excuse me, I'm going to call up Alvin Lay from our Public Works Department. I apologize, I have my planning conditions. I rely on my colleagues for their conditions, so Alvin will be up in just a moment.
All right. Good evening, Planning Commissioners. Good to see you all again, and good to see you, Mr. Lee Sullivan. Welcome to the team. Great question there. So, sorry, I got off track for a little bit. My name is Alvin Lay. I'm the Senior Development Engineer for the City of Fairfield's Public Works Engineering Department. Great question there, Commissioner. Just to provide a little bit of context, it's kind of a multi-layered question that you're asking here. To provide a little bit of context, the state's QIMBY requirements, it's basically a fancy formula that says if you're bringing this many homes to an area, you have to allocate this much acreage for parkland to serve the residents coming into that area. Now, what the QIMBY ordinance also allows is if the city has a, for lack of a better word, a master plan to develop a, probably not the best word for this, but like a regional park to serve a wider area than the subdivision that's coming in, it allows developers to pay an in lieu fee towards building that more regionally beneficial park. Now, you mentioned earlier that there's a development agreement associated with this developer here. Currently, this project is was not originally considered as part of that development agreement. So to kind of stay cognizant of that possibility of this development being folded into that development agreement, the condition 93 here states, one, this development specifically generates roughly about 3 acres of parkland. Now, if there's an opportunity for the developer to pay towards a more regionally beneficial park, that equates to the in lieu fee. And that discussion is folded in with the development agreement as well. So you effectively have a condition that gives either or scenario.
So have they made a determination as to which it will be, or is that something that happens? The condition is that you choose one of these to be chosen at a later date. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Correct.
and has the developer signaled what they plan to do?
Those discussions haven't concluded yet.
Got it, okay. That answered my question. Appreciate it. Second question, I also had the same concerns as Commissioner Matthews on the lot size. I did think, for a second, I was wanting to make sure that there was not a typo when it said 1,700 square foot lot. There's absolutely no chance that Chair Kennedy would be able to put an ADU in a 500 square foot backyard that those lots have. How do those sizes compare to the other villages' housing lots? Because that seems incredibly small to me. 1,700 square feet with that, and that's the entire lot size. That includes the driveway, the floor plate, and the backyard. It's a lot to fit on 1,700 square feet.
Yes, again, I'll have to defer a bit to the applicant team when it's their time to speak, to compare the lot size to the other areas of the
Okay.
villages at Fairfield. Yeah, and what I can add is, I absolutely hear that the size is very small. Purely from development standards with our zoning ordinance, these homes are meeting the minimum setback requirements. They are meeting the minimum private open space requirements and the common open space requirements. So and again, I'll defer to our applicant team. I don't sell homes.
Of course.
But I'm assuming or making some connections that perhaps the market is looking for more house and less lot. But again, I'll let the applicant team address that.
That's all. Thanks, Chair Kennedy.
Thank you, sir. Okay. No further questions. One more question. Commissioner Paul.
Okay, I have one clarification. And it's the first time since 2005, I think, we are doing zoning change in this parcel of 433 acres. And my question is, now we are doing zoning change from residential low income, low medium to residential high, and earlier it's a open space conservation zoning this particular parcel. And what I think there has to be two different kind of EIRs, one for the residential low, medium, residential high, and there should be different parameters for open space conservation. So are we having a different EIR this time, or we are just relying on the old EIR from 2000 onwards?
Sure. So we are taking the two existing EIRs, the Villages at Fairfield and the Hawthorne Mill, and we have done an addendum. So we effectively have refreshed them where they needed to be refreshed. All the parts that are still applicable and appropriate stay in place, and any other things that have slight variation have been amended. The reason we can do an addendum, though, is because based on the unit counts of the existing EIRs and the unit counts proposed, it's actually less. There are a lot less units being proposed. So in under the California Environmental Quality Act, or CEQA, that is considered a lower impact. And through that state law, you can do an amendment or addendum if it's a less impact. Additionally, there were no new significant impacts identified. So for example, if wetlands were being impacted previously, they're still currently being impacted. We didn't discover new wetlands. It's all still wetlands, excuse me. So again, under that California law, the project as proposed is coming in at a lower or less than impact with no new significant impacts. And that's why we can use the old environmental impact reports with slight refreshes.
Okay, thank you, I got it.
Okay, so now I have one more now. So with the fewer units, that's for the whole Villages project, not just lots 1, 2, and 3, correct?
Correct. It's for the whole Villages project and the whole old Hawthorne Mill project. So
Combined.
you can imagine Villages has now encompassed
Right.
Hawthorne Mill.
Okay. Just out of curiosity, how many more units are we putting on lots 1, 2, and 3 than what the old Hawthorne Mills had projected?
I think there was 170-ish in Hawthorne Mill,
Okay.
and now there's 375 in Lago Vista.
Great, thank you very much. Okay.
I have a question. So just staying at this page itself, so for lot 2, I just want to make sure that this is accurate. So it says 76 units, and then each of those is 45 feet times 68 feet type lot. Is that the dimension of each of those 76 lots?
On average, yeah. Some vary depending on if they're a corner lot, kind of how they fit within the street geometry, but yes.
Okay, gotcha. So then that's around 3,000 square feet per lot. And then for lot 1, just on the bottom left-hand corner, it says 75, and then each of those lots is around 33.25 feet times 81.5 feet, which is around 2,700 square feet. So the lots are on the higher end of the size. It's around 27 to 3,000 square feet lots. Is that what this image is sharing?
Yes, they're sharing the average lot configuration, yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you for the confirmation.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm confused then. How do you get 1,700 square feet for the lot size?
They should be, on average, about 1,700 if 33 by, what is it, 80?
33 by 80, what is that? It's 26.
40 by,
So
1750
33
divided by
by
40, it's like 44, 40 by 43.
2600, yeah. Yeah.
What did you say, Jay?
Yes, so it's for Lot 1, there's 75 lots, and the dimensions approximately are 33.25 times 81.5, which approximates to around a 2,700 square foot lot if the math is approximate.
If they're not-
Yeah.
Right.
So maybe they are larger than 1,700 square feet?
That's an error on my part. That the house sizes on average are 1,700 square feet.
Okay.
Lot sizes,
Okay,
yep.
yeah.
Okay,
So-
there we go.
Thank you for the
So that's,
clarification.
Yep.
That makes
little
more
bit
sense.
better,
Yes, that's
but-
a little bit, yeah.
But we should note to get that corrected in the future
Okay,
editions. Sorry.
so see no other comments. I will now open the public hearing. In addition to the developer, I have one card. Do card first.
If you would like to ask the questions of the applicant first, I would start with the applicant.
Okay. Rob, come on down.
Commissioners, thank you so much. Again, Rob White, I'm with the Lewis Group of Companies, which also includes Rancho Tolinas, which is our applicant entity. Appreciate you taking the time today. It's always a pleasure to be in front of a body like this, and many good questions. By the way, you'll be grateful to know I have answers to all of them, so I'm sure there'll be others that you have as well. Just real quickly, I just wanted to give you a little bit of background and history. We started this Villages at Fairfield project, and for you, Commissioner, I know you weren't in the workshop we did a few weeks ago. We started this whole project back in the early 2000s, had entitlements finalized in 2004. The economy, of course, changed on us. We stopped. We started back up in 2015. First houses came out of the ground in 2017. We started building out Manuel Campos just past Dixon and have moved forward. We're now at Claybank. We've done the south side of Manuel Campos between Claybank and Portland. This project will actually generate some of the impact fees that will finish the north side of Manuel Campos between Portland and, Claybank and Portland. This whole conversation, and I appreciate the time and the depth that you guys have done looking into this, is that we are looking at all of Villages now. It's much bigger than it used to be. As was mentioned by staff already, we added over 400 acres buying a previous development, which was Hawthorne Mills Cooper's Landing. This is the Cooper's Landing piece. As you see in your general plan, you did account for that. The zoning did not change. It still held it as it was going to be industrial land. So that just needed to catch up, and now it is. The other thing that was mentioned by staff, and I think it's an important piece, is where we're now looking at a multi-use trail with open space, and that's about 5 acres of land. That was going to be a 2-lane road. It was going to plow right through about 3 acres of wetlands. We knew that was a hurdle we would never get over with the water board and the Corps. So we instead said, let's make a different connection that still creates that multimodal transportation options, especially taking advantage of the linear park, which is just north of that. The other thing that you should be thinking about, I think, as we move forward here is we are doing our level best to not only meet city needs, but as was mentioned, Commissioner, about open space, although it looks as a piece of the tail of the development for the RLM category, it truly is going to be an open space piece. So although that looks like it's not open space anymore, it is on the ground. And that's just a piece of how the zoning and the planning come together. The other thing just to note is, and I think staff highlighted this well, is there's a couple of conditions that look like they're still leaving the door open to some discussion, including parks. And that is because we're working with staff on some larger regional options, and we want to make sure that we leave that door open long enough that if that needs to be done, we can. But in this development, both lots 1 and 2 have their own private parks that HOA will maintain and operate, but those will be open to the public. They're privately held, but open to the public, so anyone can come out, be on the promontory, look out over McCoy Basin. And then the Lot 3 piece, that will have its own on-site amenities, including a promontory park. And the reason it is gated is one of the Lewis pieces of the puzzle. When we do a multifamily product, we typically ask for those to be gated so we can maintain site control, and especially out on the end like this where there's lots of opportunity for people to drive out to the edge condition and do things that aren't necessarily what we would all like to see. This gives us the ability to control the on-site. Something that wasn't mentioned by staff and is going to be important to this piece is that Lot 3 multifamily condition. We will, once everything comes onto the site, we will own, maintain, operate all the utilities, all the landscaping, and provide full access to the city to get down to the basin, but there won't be any additional cost to the city for that piece of the development. So that's one of the reasons why we're asking for the trade-off of let us gate it, but we'll also take that financial obligation away from the city. So again, thank you. I think that answers a couple of the questions, but I am available. I think there are probably more, but thank you for your time, and I'm glad to be back here again. So I'll stop.
Thank you. Can I ask questions? No. Does anybody have any questions for Mr. White? No. We always put the rookie first.
I appreciate you coming to us with this application. A couple questions here. So first off, I'd love to hear from you sort of, and I mentioned this before, but what is the value proposition for the city of Fairfield here with this project? Big picture, how do you envision this benefiting residents?
Sure. So the great thing about the Northeast Quad is that it has an excellent fee program that helps build out some of these pieces of infrastructure, like Manuel Campos, like the linear parks. Those are obviously regional benefits, so benefiting the Northeast Quad, but they're truly citywide benefits as well. So Manuel Campos is a throughway. It takes you over to One Lake. Between Portland and Peabody is the piece that's still missing and needs to get done. This is one of those steps towards that. So those impact fees, as was mentioned by staff, those help to pay for that. We're actually the developer that's building those things as well. So as we collect up those fees, we're doing a fee crediting where we'll build the object and then the city gives us credit when we go to pull building permits. So we're not just leaving it to your necessary CIP program, but we're actually doing that install for you. We built the linear park that you see already, and we did do additional enhancements in that park at our own cost because we felt like it was the right thing for the neighborhood. And then we'll continue to do that all the way out to Peabody as we keep moving forward. The other enhancements that you're seeing are we are providing park space internal, but they don't meet city standards for parks. So we'll also be paying that in lieu fee on top of that. So you're going to get a double benefit, not only park fees to use on another place, but also there will be open space available to this community.
When you talked about Manuel Campos, do you mean Cement Hill Road, that
Yeah.
piece? Okay.
Yes.
So does this project fund widening that road?
Not only widening, but it will also, just got done meeting with staff today, possibly straightening where it goes over the canal.
Yep.
And in addition to adding in bike trails on each side.
Will that work be done prior to or post-development of this land?
So there's more to go with villages, and as we click through villages, it adds money to that account, which then completes another segment. So as I mentioned, on this, we'll generate enough fees for us to do the north side between Claybank and Portland. So you'll get to Portland with the full width and the full right-of-way, and it'll be fully done. From Portland on, we'll have another development we're coming forward with that will help to pay for that, called Village 3. It's the one that you saw north of Cement Hill. And then Hawthorne Mill will hopefully help get the money to complete all the rest of it.
The state of California obviously has a massive housing shortage. We know that there's a housing affordability shortage as well. Fairfield does not have an inclusionary housing ordinance right now. Something that I do want to talk to city staff about. With that said, what are you as a developer willing to offer from an inclusionary housing standpoint or from a low-income or lower-income housing as part of this project?
So Lewis leans into the idea of affordable by design. So one of the problems with housing pricing, not only in Fairfield, but generally in Solano County, is everything's in the 700s and up. And so one of the reasons for these smaller lots, smaller house formats is it helps to bring that price point down, making it accessible to the 120 AMI, which is that moderate income level. The city does also have an inclusionary requirement for RM, which a fair amount of villages is in the RM. So we're already working with the city staff. We have an obligation for about 56 units so far in that category.
What is that category again?
The residential medium, which is the RM category.
Okay.
That's currently in code.
Right.
The new ordinance that's coming forward or being proposed will take that and change that and make it citywide and make it across all zoning, and I don't want to speak to anything more than that. That's a staff discussion. But it also includes opportunities for us to do additional funding. The other thing I'll mention is that we're working with staff, as was mentioned, on a DA that's broadly across all of our new holdings that we're adding into villages, and we have some.
What's a DA?
Development agreement,
Okay.
apologies. It's the thing that the city uses legally to hold us accountable for doing the work. That object, we're actually talking with them about being able to do some trades that'll actually help enhance their affordable housing program. So we're very sensitive to the need. It was correct, is 2,700 on the smaller lots, and that unit size does exist actually behind Costco.
Okay.
The other 3,000 square foot lot we've built in several communities, including up in Rockland, Sierra Pines. So these are existing structures you can go see if you'd like. But the reason for that format here is that kind of housing type where people would like more house, less yard, helps to bring down the price point as well. So,
Got it. And that's something that I would very much encourage city staff to, I'd like to hear what the status is of the inclusionary housing ordinance for the city is, because I think that's extremely important as we're looking at these major development projects for the city, what that benefit is for low income below that 125 point. Because frankly, affordable by design is still not affordable for most people. You and I both know that. So as far as this project, two specific questions. One, are you ready to roll if we approve this? Because I'm not inclined to approve something if it's going to sit vacant for another 10 years. And is the rest of the village development contingent upon approval of this piece of it?
I'm not quite clear on your second comment.
I.e., does the rest of the villages work? And will you continue the development over the additional piece of land if you don't receive approval for this adjacent piece?
I understand. So I'll answer first question. First question is, are we ready to roll? Well, staff already knows this, is we're asking actually for them to do conditional grading permits so we can actually start grading before the end of the year. So yes. And then the second part is, this obviously has been through about 14 years of discussion already, and obviously we'd like to bring that into the village's portfolio. It's not necessary for the rest of the villages because the original villages plan didn't include it to begin with. We think it's the right thing to do. We think it's a good bolt-on, but no, it's not contingent.
Got it. And the last question, specific to the houses, are you planning to develop them, or is an outside party planning to develop it once you've received the entitlements?
So two answers. On lots 1 and 2, we work with what we call guest builders. Those are the Tri-Points, et cetera, of the world. Tri-Point is actually the one that's built lot 1 type, and that's the one behind Costco. Stuff on lot 2, we've had other builders, and a company called Black Pine out of Sacramento has built that, and others. So we will work with those guest builders, and they'll meet these conditions that are brought to us, and we actually oversee. So we'll come in and do all the infrastructure first. So all the streets, roads, et cetera, all go in, all the landscaping, that goes in. We give them finished lots typically. Most builders these days, that's what they're looking for. And then they'll come in and they'll build the house. Sometimes, and in the villages this is more true than not, the the builder will come in and say, we like what the developer proposed, but we'd like to add a different window or a different shutter, or we'd like a different house style. We didn't like Craftsman, we'd rather have Spanish. So that is that change that Melee's talking about. In the villages, every single lot that we've developed so far has been in that condition. So we do not build homes anymore. I know people call us Lewis Homes. We're actually not Lewis Homes anymore, haven't been since '99. But we do work directly with those builders and then monitor and keep that done. The lot 3 piece, that is us. We have a contract builder, but it is us. We own, operate, maintain. We actually GC the job. That is going on in Dixon, as was mentioned. We also recently received Planning Commission approval in Sacramento. We already are starting construction in West Sac, and we have one approved in Folsom. This exact type of product, this exact layout.
Regarding that lot 3, I have some strong concerns with the gated aspect of it, particularly as it relates to the rest of the community and integration into the rest of the community. It's one thing if you have a gated development that's not adjacent or part of any other type of development, but to put it in the center of your development, gated off from the rest, it really creates, I think, a very unwelcoming environment. So strong concerns with that, generally speaking, and what that says in a community. And so I don't know what tools the city has. I don't know how the other planning commissioners feel about that, but that is something that gives me a little bit of concern.
You do have gated communities sitting in Paradise Crest. That is one that's actually exactly that same condition at the end of the road like this is. One of the reasons we felt comfortable proposing that development at that location is, as staff noted, it's the end of the cul-de-sac. So it's not something that you're going to see a lot of circulation through anyway. So the idea was to be able to, again, to maintain, operate, control. We want to be able to make sure that that end of the cul-de-sac remains as it is. So that's why we're proposing the gated communities.
Thank you.
Of course. Thank you, Commissioner.
Commissioner Reese.
I'm just curious to know, will these, the units in Lot 1 and 2 have Melrose taxes, and what do you anticipate that?
Yeah,
number
so
being
that's
around?
what the staff was talking about with the CFD. Part of that CFD goes to not only pay for the infrastructure, because it's in greater excess than what the cost generated from the house will be, but in addition to that, we typically also try to support the city in what they would like to do in other parts of the area, so that Northeast fee program, et cetera. So those costs are dramatic. This is a build-out new area. The typical multiplier, you have a 1% that the state levies. The typical additional multiplier, including all other agencies, is 0.9. So the city's asked us to stay under the 1.9. For us, that typically translates into 0.3. So you see a 0.3 is what we generate for the CFD for us. The 0.6 is typically the other school district, other agencies, the LLMD, et cetera.
Thank you.
Of course.
Commissioner Paul.
I'm good, no question.
Thank you. Commissioner Matthews.
So I am familiar with the Costco development, and that's what you're saying, those are about 2,700?
Yeah, slightly larger because TriPoint came back in and remapped, but it's the same product. They just added about 3 feet to the edge of the house.
All right,
That's Julia Berger. Julia Berger Drive and
Yes.
Court. Got it. Okay.
thanks.
Commissioner Singh.
Yes, thank you so much for making yourself available to answer questions. Actually, my question was asked, and you did answer that, so thank you.
Excellent.
It specifically was with respect to when would the site improvements be made, and then when would Lot 1, Lot 2, Lot 3 be developed, and so thank you.
Thanks. Okay, so with the gated aspect, Commissioner Ali Sullivan. So apartments in Fairfield, there are several. If you look, if you go down to West Texas Street, across from Food Max, that's gated. You go down even down East Tabor, it's gated. So it's, I look at it as more of a control, that you control your environment, and that adds for those people who are renting. So also the thing I hear for the last 20 years in this town is rooftops. We need rooftops for retail. So these rooftops will help get that retail on north of this, that's in the next planning stages.
You're talking about the Village 3 one we talked about at the workshop. Yes, so that is one of the calculus that's going in is, as you're aware, the train station specific plan is underbuilding. Villages, as it was previously approved, is underbuilding. This actually helps bring that unit count back up. In order for a grocery anchor to be able to move on that 9 acres, they really are going to need something around 30,000 rooftops. Might be a little less because of the income that's in that area, but this will help bring that back up to that 30,000 number for a 15-minute drive, which will reach up into just South Vacaville, and then obviously down Peabody, and then obviously out Air Base and Manuel Campos, Seaman Hill. But yes, the calculus has been gone into that. Something that, Commissioner, I think you're aware of, but I know as a new commissioner, we talked about last time, we also do retail centers. So we are proposing in one of our next phases to do a retail center. We hope that would be a grocery anchor. We have already been to the trade shows in Vegas as well as Monterey and been proposing that, and we're getting positive feedback, but it's going to be all about, do we have the rooftops?
Great, thank you. Any other questions? Seeing none? I have one.
sorry, I just wanted to add one clarification on all the lot size information. I did just do a quick double check on the staff report. All of the figures in the staff report are accurate, so my apologies. I just got a little tongue-tied up here. It's always a running joke. You don't ask a planner to do math. That's what the engineer team is for. So I did just do a double check. The staff report does have the accurate information. So again, my apologies for that.
And Chair, if I could add one more thing, there was the discussion about the EVA. If you'd like, I can answer that question.
Please.
So the EVA is proposed similar to what the original Cooper's Landing proposal was. In talking with the fire marshal as well as the rest of the force, they actually, when they would come down air base, they looked at the possibility of a decel lane, et cetera, and they realized that would actually create more chaos than not. So they're going to just be on flashers, et cetera. And likely what they've talked about is they're going to come in the opposite direction if they need to get in there. They will have to make a stop in order to do the knockdown for the lockbox and the bollard. But they've looked at this, they've assessed it, and we've gotten assurance from the fire marshal that it meets their needs and standards. So
Yeah, because it's got that weird.
it's a weird angle, I
Yeah.
agree. But also not to be lost, there is an additional EVA on that trail going north. So
Right. Awesome.
available
Thank you.
for additional questions if you need me.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Now I have Speaker Ruben Galvin. Come on down.
Oops, I'm so sorry. Good evening, Chair, Commissioners. My name is Ruben Galvan. I'm a proud carpenter from the Knoll Carpenters Union Local 180. I did that all backwards, I'm sorry. So, I'm a proud representative of the NorCal Carpenters Union Local 180 that covers Solano County. I'm here tonight to speak about the LAGO VISTA project and to ask a simple but critical question. Will there be labor standards on this development? Has the developer, the Lewis Group, been asked if they plan to uphold strong labor standards to ensure fair wages, health insurance benefits, opportunity for apprentices from state-accredited programs, and meaningful labor compliance? This project has the potential to provide good jobs and career pathways for local workers, especially apprentices who are eager to build a career in construction. But without enforceable labor standards, we open the door to bad actors, contractors who cut corners, misclassify workers, pay low wages, provide no health insurance benefits, and in worst cases, engage in wage theft. We've seen it before. Without strong labor standards, it's a race to the bottom. The city of Fairfield has an opportunity here to support responsible development that uplifts working families and protects the community. So I respectfully ask, will the Lago Vista project include strong labor standards? And has the Lewis Group committed to partnering with those who invest in workers and build careers, not just buildings? Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. I have no other cards, and I see no hands raised online. So with that, I will close the public hearing and return it to the commission for deliberations. Go ahead and start, sir.
Sure. Chair Kennedy, is it possible to hear from the applicant regarding the, or I guess I have a question for the applicant then, in regards to any opportunity for a PLA or how they're planning to manage labor on construction of the project?
We'll have to reopen the public hearing.
Yeah. Sure. Well, I'll go ahead and reopen the public hearing.
Just would like to give you an opportunity to respond.
Sure, thank you, appreciate it. We are already working with labor on numerous things. There is a PLA on villages at large.
Okay.
So I just want to make sure that's noted. This is not part of that, but I've already committed to sit down and talk with Ruben, and we're always open and welcome to talking with labor. We support them. Good construction jobs are important to all communities, and we support that. So.
Appreciate that commitment. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. I'll go ahead and close the public hearing and return to deliberations.
Maybe some, Oh, I'd love to hear from, my fellow commissioners first.
Commissioner Reese?
I don't have anything, thank you.
I think we're ready to vote.
Okay. Commissioner Matthews?
So, with respect to the gates, I have to say, I live in a gated community, and it's a hassle for me. I prefer not to, but my neighbors do like it. And so it's a mixed bag, you know, that's a personal preference that some people feel safety, but with respect to our role as the commission, I see that as a market factor, not as a regulative factor in my mind. I do want to acknowledge, I misread this, Maylee. I read 75 lots ranging in size from the square footage, but it says units, so apologies
Oh,
for
no problem.
creating more confusions there. I am, as I mentioned earlier, familiar with the development that the Lewis companies created near Costco and several others. I think we have a well-qualified and documented partner with the city for a variety of things, which in my mind, that's an important element here too. All that being said, I'm favorably inclined to approving the resolution as presented.
Is that a motion?
Happy to make it so.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll do second.
Okay. We'll go ahead and do a roll call vote.
Chair, before we vote, can I provide some additional thoughts?
Absolutely.
Appreciate that. Appreciate the candidate coming here. I appreciate staff for taking the time to provide the report. Generally speaking, I think it's a positive project. I'm happy to see the development. I live not within 1,000 feet of this project, but I do live in the area, and so it'll be nice to see some development there. One sort of general thought, and again, I'm partially editorializing on the gated aspect, and I understand that there's folks that feel both sides of it. One thing I would encourage city staff, though, and I've noticed this with a lot of developments in sort of the Northern California region, they all look exactly the same. Everything looks exactly the same. There's no diversity in housing design. And so I would really sort of stress to the city that, and staff as they're looking at projects, developers are coming to Fairfield. Fairfield is one of the few cities in the 9-county Bay Area that still has greenfield developable land. So they're coming to us. And so as developers come to us, I would love to see projects that really push the limit on what the design looks like, what the design elements are. I would also like to see staff pushing the limits on what they're getting from developers. So there are minimums, those should be floors, not ceilings, right? I would like to see developers really showing that they're investing in the city when they are building their developments here, and that investment can be in a lot of ways beyond just some of the in lieu fees. I'd love to see, as a condition of approval, for example, for every project, dedicated amount put forward for public art, for example, right? Those are the types of things that I would like to see that a developer can easily pay. The other thing that I'm very concerned about is the affordability piece, and I think it's extremely important that the city, and of course, ultimately it's up to the city council, but we look at what that housing ordinance will look like as it relates to affordable in lieu units. A project like this should have dedicated, the number of units that we have here, there should be dedicated units within here that are affordable, not affordable by design. And so I think that's a concern that I will continue to express on this board as we see housing projects come to us. And so I'd love to see city staff really double down on getting that the affordable housing ordinance in front of us so that we can provide comments so that city council can ideally take action there. With that said, I appreciate the applicant coming forward, answering all the questions I raised, and so I'm inclined to support the project as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now we'll go to the vote. Roll call, please.
Yes. Commissioner Ollie Sullivan,
Aye.
Commissioner Reese,
Aye.
Commissioner Paul,
Aye.
Commissioner Matthews,
Approve.
Commissioner Singh,
Approved.
and Commissioner Kennedy.
I will approve.
And just for my note taking, Commissioner Matthews, you made the motion, and who grabbed the second? Paul, thank you.
Commissioner Paul.
Chair Kennedy, if I may, one minor item. On the approval document, my name was misspelled, just in the packet that was sent to us, so I just want to make sure that that is corrected.
Yeah.
Got it.
On the resolution, just for clarification. Thank you.
Okay, this motion passes. Congratulations. All right, now we'll go on to Director's Report and then Commissioner comments.
Yes, thank you. So just a handful of things for the commission. I want to acknowledge that I owe you guys some slides from the Brown Act and the CEQA training sessions that our RWG, our legal team, prepared for you. So my apologies, I will make sure to get those out to you. In addition, about a meeting before or after, my memory is a little foggy, there were some follow-ups that we were going to provide you on the Public Works capital consistency plan. So that's just taken a little while to wrangle from the right folks. I think there's also a fire question in there. Our fire team's a little short-handed at the moment, but I almost have everything I need to send that to you all. So I do just want to make sure that you guys know that is still on my radar, and I will be getting that out to you. Additionally, I want to highlight that starting in September, all the way through the end of the year, we do anticipate that there will be a planning commission. So 2 meetings every month starting September 10th, all the way through December, with the fun fact that we will not meet on Christmas Eve. We won't do that to you all. I don't think it lines up. November is the
Thanksgiving is
12th
Thursday.
and the 26th, so I don't recall.
In the past, it's always been the
Yes.
Wednesday before.
In the past, Planning Commission has always fallen on the Wednesday before. I will double check that. If it is the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, most likely we'll also not have that. But with that in mind, I know, you guys live busy and exciting lives, and oftentimes we're sending emails just to make sure that we have quorum, so I just wanted to give you that heads up ahead of time. Also, there is the possibility to attend these meetings remote. However, we must have in-person quorum as well. So if for some reason there's 3 of you in person and 2 of you on call, that does not count. We have to have at least 4 of you in person.
And just to clarify, it has to be a quorum within the jurisdiction, so like located within the jurisdiction of Fairfield. So, I mean, theoretically, it could be, someone remotely within Fairfield, and then,
Okay.
The rest here, and but it couldn't be the majority outside of Fairfield. That makes sense.
Oh, thank you for the clarification. I'll raise my eyebrows at you, though, if you're attending remotely while in Fairfield. But thank you, Christian. And then the last thing, actually it's a perfect segue, is Christian will be permanently joining us at Planning Commission, unless I'm misspeaking. Please tell me if I'm wrong. But I do believe Lori has, she's got some other obligations.
That's correct. I'm looking forward to it, so,
Thanks, Christian.
thank you.
And that is all I have for you guys tonight.
Great, thank you. I'll go the other way for your benefit. Commissioner Singh, comments?
Yes, so I just wanted to share just some insight from just a normal or like just a market retail environment here in Fairfield. I do work as a retail leasing and sales broker, and I've noticed some really positive trends lately. In fact, over the past quarter, we've seen significant investment from most landlords into their properties, in fact, making very heavy use-specific improvements, and that makes the leasing environment much more in line with what the demand for retail services is. And so knowing that the Fairfield market is moving so quickly is very reassuring. And so I think just wanted to share that our market is very, very, very efficient, and we have a lot of buy-in from landlords as well.
Awesome. Commissioner Matthews? Okay, so I have 2 things. So tomorrow night, there is a webinar for the North Cordelia Green Valley landscape at the LLMD. So if anybody's interested in that, that's tomorrow night. There is one tonight for Markley Lane that we're meeting instead. But, and then the big deal, right? No. Next weekend, the 22nd, 23rd, and 24th, Fairfield is hosting a pickleball tournament from the Professional Pickleball Association, PPA, the leading organization in the United States for pickleball. And we have over 400 people signed up for this event already. So Allenwood Park will be jumping that weekend. And of course, this Saturday, Sunday is the Tomato Festival. So make sure come out to the Tomato and Vine Festival this weekend. It's always a good time, and the weather looks really good for it this weekend. Last year was like 100, so this will be really nice. So with that, that's all I have. So we will adjourn until August 27th. Thank you, everybody.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So you are living in